Jake Quimby. I've been the current board president for the last 3 years and honored to be that. And on behalf of myself and our current board and past board, and a couple hundred four-legged friends that we moved in the last 48 hours, we all welcome you to our ribbon cutting ceremony. What a great day for the city of Tupelo and Lee County. Over 10 years in the making, and so much hard work by so many people. This truly has been a project of love by the community. This new shelter is as progressive as the city and county that we live in. It's a shining example of what happens in an all-American city when the community and local government and the community work together. Amazing things can happen. And for all of you that have been at the old shelter, you know that for our four-legged friends, it truly is a blessing and nothing but a miracle for them as they get a new second chance on life as they wait for a new family and forever home. New shelter was paid for by the local community. It's the community shelter. And throughout it, as you walk through, and please join us after the ribbon cutting. We have hors d'oeuvres and snacks, and the board and shelter staff, we're going to be giving tours throughout it and meet our new residents. There's lots of wagging tails and smiling faces of the animals, but there's warm touches of love and compassion from the community throughout it. From the bricks out front, okay, that were purchased from different people from the community, honoring lost pets and family members, to all the special dog beds that you see in the kennels, to all the new employees, special uniforms that they got this morning, purchased by the community, to the great artwork that two local middle schools did that you see throughout the shelter. And one last thing, if you look at the very far right side of the shelter, there's a dog agility and obstacle course. So it's the summer project from a group of students at Tupelo High School. The community's compassion and love for animals is throughout the facility, and the building is certainly family friendly. That is the one thing that we all know the previous shelter lacked. Over this decade-long project, there's been so many donors, large to small. We're going to try to keep the format here pretty short and focus on the ribbon cutting and the animals. Again, that's what it's always about, is the animals. But we thank you to everybody. I mean, the outpouring in the community, large to small. There was children that gave up money from their birthday presents that donated to the shelter. Where do you see that in today's world? Just great acts of love. We thank you all. We do want to thank specific people as it relates to the building and the building process. It all started over a decade ago with the land being donated from the Big Oaks Farm and the Ruff and Thomas family, and we have several of them in the audience with us. If you can just raise your hand. They're back there. We thank you so much. I mean, usually projects don't take a decade to get done and completed, but and to all the donors, we appreciate all your patience with the building. We also want to thank the city of Tupelo and Lee County for their generous donation to the building fund and also their annual commitment to our operation fund. There's several members from local and city and state government. We thank you all. I think the mayor's going to single them out and talk to them a little bit more specific. We also want to thank our builder, Southland. Gerald, where are you? Gerald Warfield, all the way in the back. This is a community project. We put this project out to bid, and certainly the lowest bid won. I mean, it's a humble project, and we counted our pennies. Southland won, and Gerald told me from day one, he goes, I'm going to build you a great building. And I think as you walk around, he lived up to his word. Thank you, Gerald. Gerald and his team at Southland, they were fantastic to work with throughout the whole process. We want to thank Mr. Tim Pruitt. Where's Tim? So Tim was our project manager, and Tim taught Construction 101 to a bunch of board members that are animal lovers and business lovers, but didn't know a whole lot about construction. And Tim taught us the basics and how to keep us on track, how to continue to raise the money and keep us within budget. He did so much more than becoming than just a project manager, and went above and beyond, and weekend after weekend and long hours, and truly became a great friend of the organization and the shelter. Thank you, Tim. We want to thank our architect firm, Sozo Architecture, Michael Gray Jones. Where are you, Mike? Right, stand back. We had some folks from Mississippi State here about a month ago, and we were kind of giving a preliminary tour of the shelter, and they said this truly is one of the most state-of-the-art, functional, operational facilities in the Southeast. Thank you. We want to thank Bancorp South and Leighton Gibbons for our construction loan. Always important. And just a few quick facts about the animal shelter. The new shelter is 3 times the size of the old shelter. It's just shy of 20,000 square feet. The new shelter can house 450 plus 4-legged frames at max capacity. The new facility cost approximately $1.9 million. We managed our pennies very well. I mean, the building has a lot of great curb appeal, but every single inch in this building is well laid out, well designed, and very functional. The new shelter is designed into 3 specific areas. Disease control is a big thing in a shelter, okay? And it's one of the biggest areas that we lacked in our current shelter, where everything just came through the front door. This facility is designed into 3 areas with 3 different heating and air, so we can manage control and manage disease. The first area, which is very family friendly, is the adoption area. Okay, it's set up like going to a pet store. Okay, it's very inviting, and it's enticing for a family to come and bring your children and pick out a new family member. There's the intake area, which is the back half of the shelter. Okay, and then there's the surgical spay clinic, which will be enclosed in here. And spaying and neutering is what this is all about, educating the population. Tupelo Lee County, the shelter, we bring in over 7,000 animals a year. For a small area, we take in that many animals. Just a couple of last things about this shelter. With the expanded footprint, it's going to allow us to expand with the seasonal intake of animals. It's one of the issues that we've had, but through local transfers and a lot of hard work by the shelter staff and a lot of hard work by fosters, that we have a lot in the area. You know, the average euthanasia rate, and always a bad word for a shelter, but the average euthanasia rate in the Southeast is over 50%. It's a staggering number. The euthanasia rate in Tupelo Lee County for the last 5 years is under 5%. A lot of hard work to our director, Rachel Allred. I've spoke a lot. It's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Mayor Jason Shelton. The mayor and the city has been incredible along the process. There's never anything that we asked for that they weren't open and willing to help us with this. So with that, Mr. Mayor.
We're very fortunate in Tupelo Lee County to have a city and county government that works together, that believes in public-private partnerships and believes in working together to get things done for our community, and that's something we're proud of. I feel like I'd get in trouble if I didn't recognize our state representative, Shane Gary, who's here today. Since you've been here, we are, for better or worse, good friends, but I think I heard him say he was going to try to get us some state money for the project. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll get an ugly text message shortly. But no, this is a great day. Thank you, everyone who helped, who contributed. Even with the city funding, the county funding, the board fundraising, this doesn't happen without hundreds or thousands of people donating money, donating time, and working together to see that we continue to do great things right here in Tupelo Lee County, Mississippi. So thank you again. Congratulations, Jay and everybody on the board. You guys do a fantastic job, and we're so very proud of you. Thank you so much.
As Mr. Mayor said, the partnership is as equally important with the county, and we have Mr. Tony Roper, who's the Vice President of Lee County Board of Supervisors. Lee County it's Tupelo Lee County Humane Society, and as much a big part of this. Mr. Roper.
Good morning. I'll let y'all out by supper time. You know, it's a great day to be here. We got great weather and a great crowd and a beautiful new building that I'm sure proud to be a part of. And I know that other members of the board is too. We've got Mr. Phil Morgan here, and Mr. Billy Joe Holland, and Mr. Ivy and Mr. Smith had other obligations. They couldn't be here, but they the same way. When we voted to help the Humane Society, it was unanimous to help. And you know, these are God's little creatures, and we got to help them any way we can. And so it's kind of our way of showing. You know, I think last year, I know the city gave a lot of money. Last year, the county, I think, in their fiscal year, donated like $93,000 to it, and we committed for the next 4 more years for $40,000 a year, and just really proud to be a part of it. So, and you know, without all the volunteers you have here, you just have a building too. So, thank you for all the volunteers and the one that works every day up here. And the county certainly appreciate it, and the county's all in helping any way we can. In the future. Thank you.
There's a lot of board members that put a lot of time, energy, and effort in, and want to thank all their families, because what we all do takes away from family time. We can't all speak. I guess I got to get elected to speak, but we do want to let Nelson Gravatt speak as well. Nelson was president for several years and ran the charge and ran putts for months, and big part of why this building got built. So, Nelson?
As Jay said, about 10 years ago, I was at a country club playing golf, and nobody that's on the council now, but one of the council members, I was bitching and complaining about the conditions of our Humane Society. I know you can't imagine me doing that. So the guy looked at me and he said, well, if you're so bad about it, why don't you do something about it? So I did. Started to putt for months. Started right the first time, I think we had about 12 people play. And gradually this thing grew, and the idea to build a new building. And fortunately, I was fortunate enough to have a wife that understood my passion. And as I told my dad, who was a Baptist preacher, I said, this is kind of my way of making up for all of my sins of the past. I'll try to create a nice place for these dogs. But I wanted to just tell you that this is a dream come true for me. About 3.5 years ago, I got stricken with pancreatic cancer, had to leave the board. And fortunately, I had met Jay at a Badcock show, furniture show, and we got to talking, and he understood, I understood his passion for animals. And by the time the 2-day show was over, he'd written me a check for $1,000. I said, this is a guy I might want to get on the board. Make a long story short, I got he, Hoppy Whitaker, a few other people that I knew were dog lovers and also good business people. And one thing led to another. And Jay, thanks to you, to the current board, people like Stephanie, Martha, Cheryl, numerous people that were on the board when I was there. That's why this is here today, because people care. You got a heart. My favorite story about loving a dog is if you live in Tupelo, in the middle of August, take your dog and your spouse and put them in the trunk of the car. Leave them there for 30 minutes. Open the trunk and tell me who's glad to see you. If it's a dog, his tail's wagging. If it's your wife, her tongue's wagging. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate all the effort the city, the county, and all the volunteers have done. You made my dream come true.
Although funny, we don't recommend putting dogs in trunks.
Not more than 30 minutes.
Listen, I'm going to kind of wrap it up, but before we conclude and cut the ribbon, just a couple of few last comments. The shelter is always about the animals. That's why we're all here. That's why we all do what we do. That's why the people in the room give the money that they do. It's about the animals. It's not about the board. It's not about personalities. It's about the animals. Animals don't have a voice for themselves, so we have to speak for them. You know, this building is almost paid for. We got a little bit of a mortgage on it. We're a humble organization, so we're still looking for people to help. And quite frankly, I feel like we're always asking for money because we are. You know, as generous as the city and county's support as it is, and there's a lot of great worthy causes in the community. But our animals are important because they complete our families, okay? 70% of our operating budget comes from the community. It comes from donations less than $18. Comes from donations that are nothing more than a commitment of love from the community. So, with that, I say, don't forget them. Tupelo Lee Humane Society is a great organization. It saves lives, it preserves lives, and it finds homes for animals to complete families. And with that, I say let's cut a ribbon and let's open the shelter. budget comes from the community. So we're forever fundraising to support the animals and feed the animals and pay the staff, of course. So today is the ribbon cutting for the opening of the new shelter. It's been a project of love for the last decade. It's taken 10 years to raise the funds and build the new shelter. So many donations and hard work by so many people. It's a great day for Tupelo and Lee County, and certainly a great day for our four-legged friends that are now new residents.
Sound like you're very excited.
Absolutely. This has been a project of love for not just myself, but for the whole community.
You've been involved in this from the beginning, right?
I've been involved with the board for 6 years. I've been president of the board for the last 3 and the capital campaign chairman for the last 3 years.
Just tell us personally why this is important to you.
I believe animals complete families, and animals, they don't have a voice for themselves. So, animals are a big part of our community. There's a lot of great causes in Tupelo Lee County, but the animal shelter is a big part of our county, and animals complete families.
3 times the size of the one everybody knows, whatever that served area for decades, right?
3 times the size, and it's, you can see looking around, it's very family friendly. There's a huge adoption area. There's a spay and neuter clinic on site now. We can hold almost 500 animals on site now.
What was the capacity before?
The capacity of the old shelter was about 275 animals.
And you say 7,000 animals get brought in every year?
Over 7,000 animals come into the shelter from Tupelo and Lee County a year.
That sounds like a lot, for this area.
It's a lot of animals, yeah.
What's the issue with it, I guess?
Well, as anything, okay, spaying and neutering is always the secret, and one of the things the shelter has done, we've never had a building big enough to hold all the animals, so we also foster several thousand animals to all different parts of the country. So a lot of our southern animals reach to homes in Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Massachusetts, and that's a big part of what we do. We foster and we transport animals as well to other families across the country.
Will that be able to, will more than be able to stay in this area now?
The goal is always to adopt animals locally in Tupelo and Lee County, but I'm sure we'll still probably have a surplus, and we'll still probably transport to other parts of the country and put a little south in the north, and that's not a bad thing. But it's funny. About 3 weeks ago, I had a gentleman from Boston who was 82 years old who had just got an animal, a young beagle, from all the way from Tupelo to Boston.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, just that the shelter always needs the local support, and the new facility is family friendly, and we encourage everybody to stop by and check us out. All the new residents, they're waiting to see you.